Hey Bill, I enjoyed your video.
Thanks, man.
But
I want to be engineer.
like, there wasn't enough
Build
garris
nodes.
talking about garris and stuff, so I was a bit annoyed.
It sounds like he's asking what.
To be honest, I was a bit raging. I was like, what?
No
Talking
garris.
about tanks all of a sudden. What the fuck? Unsubscribe.
Hello, welcome back to our build Jammin. Hope you are. So we are going to be talking about garris today. And there's something that I've missed out in all my videos so far, and it's a bit of a blunder on my part really. It's one of the most important things in the game, and I've completely missed it. And it's something the game really does a terrible job of explaining, and it's about capping the point. Because you've got the circle, and that's what players naturally go for, because that's easy for your brain to comprehend. But what's more important is what's around the circle, and those 4 squares where you can actually cap. And I think this is quite misleading for a lot of players. And we played a competitive match the other night, and we lost the game because we got slightly undone and a bit confused about where we put our garris in regards to our defensive cap, which ultimately lost us the game. And we talked a bit about tanks last week and how important they are, and all the different aspects in the game, and firepower and all that sort of stuff. For me, the most important thing is still garrisons, and it's still map control. So I'm going to share with you that moment that we lost, and I'm going to show you why we lost, and I'm going to show you how not to lose. But before we go on to that, I just want to talk a little bit about artillery, which I've been avoiding talking about because it's so ridiculously overpowered. It can be abused to such great ends, especially in public games where people don't build garrisons. Because it's the greatest spawn camping tool ever to be created in any game ever. We had a guy join Exodus and did his first training, and he left after 5 minutes because he was getting spawn camped from artillery. And I don't blame him, it's ridiculous. We all hate it, but it's the way that you have to play it if you want to play competitively. And I think the only way for it to be changed is if, you know, we do a video and a few people watch it, and then we start ruining people's lives in public games. So, I'm sorry, but these changes were made for public players, and they're completely fucking you. Let's see how many allies leave compared to Axis.
Oh no! Oh no, and it's still going. Are we the baddies here?
Yeah. That's probably enough for one day. Because in update 8 they gave artillery a nerf, let's call it, in where you couldn't destroy garrisons anymore with artillery. He's down, nice shot mate. Except with that comes spawn camping, which is so obvious that that would happen. And it's not helping the players have a better experience. I just can't quite get my head around the decision, to be honest. I guess maybe it's because in public games people don't really build garrisons, so they don't want people destroying garrisons so more people can have fun and shooting and stuff. But they've just completely forgot about artillery, where you can just spawn camp from across the map.
That's Jimmy the Reach. I mean, he doesn't look like much, but check out his arms.
Right, okay. Well, who am I going to fight then?
Don't worry about it.
And of course the main problem is, as always, the changes in update 7 that I will always bang on about, and this is why we've had every problem ever since update 7. Because take town outskirts for example, there's 2 places where everyone always builds their garrisons, on those yellow circles. It's the best place to be because time really matters in this game, and I'll go on to explain why that is later. But then for the Germans, they've got 1 place where they can get into town outskirts from, and their secondary placement has to be kind of further back because anywhere further north of that is just open fields, and you can't just leave a garrison in an open field because it will get destroyed. And Saint-Marie de Mont is weird because it's one of the original maps in Hell Let Loose, and it's probably the most barren. And yet it's probably one of the best maps because those big empty fields that you have to cross forces you to play together as a squad. You can't just push across by yourself. And all the new maps have got all this micro terrain, and that actually forces people apart because they can cross open spaces by themselves because there's so much shit in the way. So I think that was how they were trying to patch this thing about the garrisons, by just putting loads of fucking bushes in the way. Except the only problem is the bushes don't render in for people that use different settings. And even if that was the case and it rendered in for everyone, I'm still never going to put a garri in an open field. And also micro cover, or bushes or whatever, creates horrible gameplay when you can just lie down in grass and camp. No one likes camping in computer games. Alright, some people maybe like to camp.
It relaxes me. It's like yoga, except I still get to kill something.
Okay, so here's something really weird, okay? Here's that game against Lost Squad on Sunday. And I'm just going to quickly highlight all the garrison positions for you. This is the moment where we start losing the game. But this other slide that I'm about to show you is WTH against Lost Squad. Exactly the same setup, and just look where the garrisons are. Pretty similar, except there's one or two key differences. Beside the fact that we don't have those two garrisons in front of the circle, we only have one garrison in the cap and near it. And by the cap, I mean the 4 squares that surround the circle. Every player that you get in there counts for 1. Every player that you get inside the black circle counts for 3. So let's say we lose our garrison on cemetery. How far are we going to have to run to fall back from our defensive garrisons? It's pretty far, and considering those squares take 50 seconds to cross in a straight line, that's a long time when the cap takes 2 minutes to be lost. Whereas if you look at WTH's garrison setup, they're not only in the square, but they're right next to the square. So as soon as you get back in those 4 squares, you start adding to the cap again. Our defensive garrisons were too far away to get back into the green square. And it's such a minor error that caused the misplacement of these garrisons. And there was a few other reasons that went into us losing, but this is one of them. Because this garri here blocks off all the other garris that can be built close to the green square. Just so you know, on Strat Sketch, 100 meters is 200 meters because the map size or whatever. So if we move our garrison back a little bit, it opens up a whole load of covered spaces where we can put our garrison and have it right next to the point. Something like that. And then you can still have the one further north, and you can still have one on the circle. You just need to move it a little bit further south. So even though we lost our 2 attacking garris in the green, we would have had better backup garris and dealt with the enemy just fine. And if I'm such a fucking legend, why didn't I say something at the time? Well, I was back at the artillery defending it from enemy recon, because that's how important artillery is in these matches. They sent both recon units to go kill the artillery because we were just destroying them. And this is what the map looks like just before we lose the cap. And this is how quickly we lose it.
Yo, how's looking at this man?
Right, I think.
We need support.
Bill, we're getting shot.
Yeah.
Getting shot, Bill. South side.
What about hospice? Sorry, cemetery.
For like this wall as well here.
Yeah. Sorry, I said twice.
That's just a common.
We'll deploy happily if need
Guys,
be.
can you pull back? Big S.
Alright. Enemies on
Focus
able,
right
enemy
there.
infantry marker. Enemies on enemy infantry marker. They're inside the room.
Yeah. So if you look now, it's about halfway capped, and people start flooding back to the cemetery. If you look at how many people are outside that green square, there's quite a lot. And if Lost Squad have 6 people in there, that counts for 18. So we're getting massively outcapped. And in hindsight, we should have all deployed on that yellow circle. But in the moment, that doesn't really happen.
I'm
Just going to leave you there for a minute. I need to get the...
Yeah, I think you need to.
And this is what the map looks like 20 seconds later. And despite the call for everyone to pull back, they just can't get there fast enough because the garris are too far away. And we lose the cap, and we eventually lose hospice. So well played to Lost Squad, but we made some big fucking errors there. And apologies about the frames. I've made some tweaks and it should be fine now, but you get the picture. We actually got more kills than them in this game, and we lost it because of our garrisons.
Cannon for this tank.
Garry's down on Russo. It's always garrisons, garrisons, garrisons. But then it comes artillery, because we know exactly where those garrisons are going to be. And if they're not there, they're not in the right place. Garri here, front.
20 seconds on each side.
There's southern Garry's down on Russo. So if you would like to tell the developers how broken the game is right now with this artillery stuff, then jump on a server with a mate, go spot some garrisons, mark them for your friend on the artillery, and let them know when the spawn wave is. Alright, they just spawned about 5 seconds ago. After that, you fire your shot 16 seconds after the wave has spawned. It takes 24 seconds for the shell to land, and then you can blow them all up and make them quit the game. And just remember, it's not your fault if you do this. If it's in the game, you can do it. I just want to talk very quickly about the massive influx of new Chinese players. And if you watch the video that went viral and got over 6 million views, I think, at the minute, if you watch that video, it's mainly looking at a map, which is really interesting to me, because it really shows that the huge amount of Chinese players or Asian players are really interested in the strategy side of the game and not the pew-pew. And maybe once players play the game enough to realise that you have to put your garris in certain places or you'll lose the point anyway, they'll realise the strategy isn't really there. And if the devs watch this video and see the problems with artillery at the minute, I've got a sneaky suspicion that instead of changing the garrison stuff, they'll probably change artillery and they'll make the kill zone smaller and they'll make it randomised a little bit as to where it lands. Kind of like what they did with tanks. And if they do that, they're really missing the point. And the game is so predictable that we can even shoot their trucks coming out of spawn.
Apparently we hit their trucks. Epic.
Nice.
Nice.
Well played, Hardy. That wasn't me. That was just fucking luck, sorry.
So I'll put a link down to the Chinese guy's video that went viral, and you can watch it and you can see how well he commands actually, both in Chinese and English. And I feel like we should meet him halfway as well and learn a few words for ourselves. It's pretty simple, just to get the basics.
I'm getting spawn camped by artillery.
我正在被炮兵扎营。
FFS.
FFS.
So, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that made sense. Let us know if you've got any questions down in the comments. And let's hopefully not nerf artillery like tanks because of predictability. Let's nerf predictability because artillery requires communication and coordination, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, you got it. Nice. Tiger's down. Let me find the path.